So America loves to antagonize countries it's afraid of and call them communist.
And I'm going to tell you right now, the word CCP, which I don't even know half the time when I say it, CCP, that 3 letters is new.
Amazing viewer, excited to have you once more at Comfort for Life. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your love and support to this channel. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your subscription. Thank you for interacting with the content. I really appreciate. I am sharing this video in response to this clip that I shared in my previous video. Check this.
As a Chinese, I just have one wish. I wish American can stop referring China as communist China. You don't have a trade war with communist China, okay? If it's communist China, you will have an ideology war with China. Communist China will not trade with you. Communism and capitalism don't trade with each other.
Well, I knew all along that there were misconceptions about China, but I never expected that a whole country could be labeled with something that doesn't represent them.
So Chinese people do vote and have a say in policy.
People say if you are speaking English as second language, you tend to use limited vocabulary. And to those people, I just want to say, nay. But it's not about vocabulary. It's more about cultural references. For example, when I first came to the States, I will make this analogy, like Chinatown is like my Disneyland. And a couple years later, I will make the same analogy but using different references. I will say Chinatown is my Graceland. See, I will know more references. And I want to tell you, people back in China don't know a lot of references about United States. Pretty much they know one references, Donald Trump. And all I'm saying is, American, you might have an image problem.
It never existed before. Just think about that. Because CCP is a new word that can quickly spread and anti this idea of communism. You can say that word without even saying, representing the country or its ideology. That is a great barbecue propaganda. BBQ.
It's a bit confusing because the Chinese ruling party is the Chinese Communist Party, or the Communist Party of China, as they call themselves. And then the country is known as the People's Republic of China.
Okay guys, this is China here, and today I will show you a very important place. Do you know what is this place? This is the birthplace of the Communist Party of China. It's in the Red Boat, South Lake in Jiaxing, Zhejiang Province.
So let's break this down. China is not a communist country. If it was, the government would control the means of production and decide how many consumer goods would belong to each household, meaning social classes wouldn't exist, which, as I've discussed, isn't true. China has many billionaires and their citizens are free to purchase consumer goods to their heart's content. Now, they were on their way to communism under Mao. The state seized control of agriculture, for example. But then Deng Xiaoping came into power and, as I've discussed, opened the doors for private enterprise. And through a mixed principle economy, China lifted 800 million people out of poverty, experienced the greatest period of growth probably ever, etc. China likes to say it's socialist with democratic tendencies, and if you really want to be specific, it's probably more socialist with capitalist tendencies. The state has its hands all up in sectors like banking, energy, and transportation. But again, there are many private companies as well contributing to the world's second largest economy. So by definition, it is not, at the moment, a communist country. So Chinese people do vote and have a say in policy. Ideally, this is how it works. Citizens will vote in local elections within their village or community. Then those delegates will vote in representatives for the next level above, city, provincial, and finally, national. These national level delegates, called the NPC, will converge on Beijing once a year in March to finalize legislation, vote on leadership, etc. So in an ideal world, this system is quite democratic because you should know your local delegates and what they represent a lot better than you would know someone like Xi Jinping or Donald Trump, these figures who are only ever seen in the media by citizens. However, in practice, it doesn't appear as effective as you'd like it to be. Local elections aren't always taken that seriously, and although you can elect an ordinary non-CCP person, that's much harder to do at the higher levels because the CCP just wields so much power and influence. China, to be fair, does like to poll its citizens often and hear proposals from other parties, but the CCP pretty much has the final say on everything, which opens the door for big moves like when they infamously abolished the two-term limit, meaning Xi can serve for as long as he wants to. Even so, there have been studies that show that the Chinese people generally approve of their government. So that's a high-level overview. Obviously, there's a ton of nuance, but it's very interesting to compare it to something like our political system.
I have a benevolent mother, literally, living in China. The fact I'm not living with her in that family is because I grown up. I want to see a bigger world. And I know there's a bigger world. Not like a frog living in the well and looking up, see the world as a round sky. And that's it. I don't want to be the frog. No world is limited by one family, one city, one country. Anyway, I don't know if CCP is benevolent or not. We look at the action. Some action might be, for example, build up the infrastructure for all the people, high-speed railway for all the people, health care for all the people, and also making sure there's no homeless person in China before building another military base overseas. Those are pretty benevolent actions, would you say?
I figured out how to make America great again. You have to make American governments honest. So, good luck with that.
Socialist. Like, listen, countries are complex. There is things that we can learn from every country. Okay, maybe not North Korea.
So somebody sent me this video of this lib spreading some delusional nonsense about China. And normally you would think that I would counter that, for instance, where he says that socialism is when handouts. But I think this take on the DPRK is a little bit more egregious. You think there's nothing you can learn from the DPRK? Nothing? You know that the DPRK was this close to kicking out the colonizing force in the southern half of the Korean peninsula. The only reason they weren't able to is because that colonizing force secured a Hail Mary victory at Incheon. If they were able to kick out those colonizers from the southern half of the peninsula, then the Republic of South Korea wouldn't have the highest suicide rates in the developed world today. You don't think you can learn from the DPRK about resisting imperialism, which they've done for 75 years? You don't think you can learn from them at how to function in a self-reliant way because of the most brutal international sanctions regime that the world has ever seen being levied against them by the UN at the behest of the US. You don't think anybody can learn from that? It's just so embarrassing for these fucking libs to just unquestioningly believe this Western narrative that the DPRK is this irredeemably evil totalitarian hellscape. Come on, bud. Break out of the propaganda shell. I mean, you are the propagandist here, so there's no hope for you.
If your leadership don't live like you, they will never fight for you. During the Chinese Revolution days, we had a simple idea. Go to the people, learn from the people, lead the people. It was called the mass line. It meant the leaders didn't sit in the office writing theories. They went into the villages, listened, lived like the poor, learned their real problems. Then they come back with the real answers. Compare that to the today's politicians, flying private, living in gated community, funded by corporations. They don't know your life, they don't feel your pain. That's why the law never seemed to help you, because they were never written with you in the room. How can someone never live your life will understand you and work for you? A real democracy starts from the bottom, not the top. What if leadership didn't mean to talk over people, but listening to them first? Please like and share and follow. Thank you.
I'm sorry, but this is the worst example. Do you even know the origin of Philippines, the name of the country? King Philips. If you are an Asian country, would you change your country's name to be a European king peacefully? Why is not the Emperor of China's name? Guess what? China is a little bit more peaceful despite the proximity. Do you ever wonder why Filipinos' last name is Spanish? If you are an Asian, would you peacefully change your last name to be Spanish? Why is not Chinese? Guess what? Because China is a little bit more peaceful. Do you even know how many Filipino was killed by American army in Philippines? If it's not 2 million, it's maybe 5 million. Guess how many Filipino killed by Chinese army in Philippines? 0. Because China is a little bit more peaceful. Worst example ever.
You've watched to this extent and if you've not liked the video, kindly like the video, subscribe if you're new here. Also share your thoughts in the comment section. To be honest, when I started sharing videos about misconceptions on China, I expected to just share maybe a single video that I did that is here, almost 50 minutes, almost an hour video, and I thought I had depleted all the misconceptions. But only to find that there's always something that will come up the next day. And I don't know how long is this going to take for it to be cleared completely. I think writers should write books. I think there should be books on this because, hi, seriously, like it's scary. It's anyway. I don't know. And what other country is also in this category as we speak right now, apart from China? Yeah. Have you ever heard any propaganda about your country, and how does it make you feel? Because I personally, when they paint Africa as poor, it makes me think and wonder, and it makes me uncomfortable, given the resources that we have. Anyway, I don't want to get so much into that. So what do you think about this? For China, changing the name of the whole country, it's what's really made me dig deep into this and try to understand what else is hidden in there. And there's always something new that comes up. We don't know how long this is gonna last. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.